Have you ever missed a place that never really existed? For millions of people, that place is Mayberry. It was a quiet little town where everyone knew each other, problems were solved with kindness, and life moved at a slower pace. Even though Mayberry was fictional, it became a symbol of peace and family for generations of viewers. The man behind this unforgettable town was Andy Griffith. For decades, people saw him as the friendly sheriff with a warm smile and wise advice. On television, he represented honesty, patience, and simple values. But away from the cameras, Andy Griffith's life was far more complicated than many fans ever realized. One person who knew him better than almost anyone was Ron Howard. Before becoming one of Hollywood's most respected directors, Ron Howard was just a young boy playing Opie Taylor, Andy's son on The Andy Griffith Show. He spent 8 years working beside Andy and watched him both on and off the set. Now, after many years, Ron Howard has shared memories that reveal a much deeper picture of the man audiences admired. Andy Griffith wasn't perfect, like everyone else. He had strengths, weaknesses, personal struggles, and private challenges. Yet despite those flaws, he inspired countless people and created one of the most beloved television shows in American history. So who was the real Andy Griffith? How did a man with such a complicated personal life create a television world filled with warmth, kindness, and hope? In this video, we'll explore his remarkable journey from his difficult childhood to his rise to fame, his close friendship with Ron Howard, and the surprising truths that many fans never knew. Let's begin where it all started. Andy Griffith was born on June 1, 1926, in Mount Airy, North Carolina, a small town that would later inspire the famous town of Mayberry. His family wasn't wealthy. In fact, money was so tight that, as a baby, Andy reportedly slept in a dresser drawer because his parents couldn't afford a proper crib. Life was never easy. Growing up, Andy experienced hardship, bullying, and the daily struggles of a working-class family. But these experiences helped shape the thoughtful and observant person he would eventually become. As a young boy, he found comfort in church. He loved music, joined the choir, and learned to play instruments. Long before acting became his dream, music was his greatest passion. No one could have imagined that this quiet boy from North Carolina would one day become one of television's biggest stars. As Andy Griffith grew older, he discovered another talent that would change his life forever, making people laugh. While studying at the University of North Carolina, he became interested in acting and performing. At first, he planned to become a music teacher, but the stage quickly became his true passion. In the early 1950s, Andy performed a funny storytelling routine called What It Was Football. His unique Southern voice and natural storytelling style made audiences laugh everywhere he performed. The recording became a huge success. Almost overnight, people across America began to notice the young performer from North Carolina. Soon, Hollywood came calling. Andy appeared in movies and television before landing the role that would define his career. In 1960, The Andy Griffith Show premiered. The series introduced viewers to the peaceful town of Mayberry, where Sheriff Andy Taylor solved problems with patience instead of force. Unlike many television shows of that time, The Andy Griffith Show didn't depend on loud jokes or wild action. Instead, it focused on everyday life. The characters felt real. The conversations felt natural. And the stories reminded people of simpler times. One of the biggest reasons for the show's success was Andy himself. According to Ron Howard, Andy believed comedy worked best when it felt honest. If a joke seemed silly or exaggerated, Andy often asked for it to be changed or removed. He wanted every scene to feel believable. Ron Howard later said he learned one of his biggest lessons from watching Andy work. Andy never tried to be the funniest person in every scene. Instead, he stayed calm and serious, allowing the other actors to shine. That simple approach made characters like Barney Fife even funnier. As a young child on the set, Ron Howard didn't realize he was receiving a master class in acting and storytelling. But years later, he understood those lessons had shaped his entire Career. Andy also encouraged the cast to share ideas. He listened to suggestions and wanted everyone to help make each episode better. That kind of teamwork wasn't common in television during the 1960s. The atmosphere on set became one of respect, creativity, and hard work. For Ron Howard, those years were more than just childhood memories. They became the foundation of everything he would later do as an award-winning director. By the late 1960s, The Andy Griffith Show had become one of the biggest television programs in America. Millions of families watched every week. The show's success wasn't just because it was funny. People loved the feeling it gave them. Mayberry was a place where neighbors cared for each other, children played safely outside, and problems were solved with understanding instead of anger. When the show ended in 1968, it finished as the #1 television show in the country. Very few series have ever ended while still sitting at the top. Andy believed it was better to end the show while it was still respected than to continue after its best years had passed. For many fans, that decision made the show even more special. But while audiences saw a calm and friendly sheriff every week, life behind the scenes wasn't always as peaceful. According to stories shared over the years, Andy Griffith could be a demanding perfectionist. He expected everyone to do their best. If a scene didn't feel natural, he would ask for another take. If dialogue sounded forced, he wanted it rewritten. He cared deeply about quality and refused to settle for something that didn't feel right. Ron Howard has often said these experiences became some of the greatest lessons of his life. Watching Andy taught him that great work requires patience, discipline, and attention to detail. Years later, when Ron became a successful movie director, he used many of those same ideas on his own film sets. Actors who worked with Ron often described him as respectful, calm, and open to new ideas. Many believe those qualities were influenced by the years he spent learning from Andy Griffith. Still, Andy's personal life was becoming more complicated. Away from television, he faced challenges that most viewers never knew about. His first marriage began to struggle, and those close to him described him as a private man who rarely talked about his personal feelings. Friends also said he could be stubborn and sometimes difficult when dealing with stress. Despite those struggles, his commitment to creating great television never changed. Every episode reflected the values he wanted audiences to feel: kindness, honesty, patience, and respect. Ironically, the peaceful world of Mayberry was much simpler than Andy Griffith's own life. The difference between the man on television and the man behind the cameras would become more noticeable as the years passed, and it would eventually shape how people remembered both his career and his legacy. As the years passed, Andy Griffith's television career continued to grow. After The Andy Griffith Show, he appeared in several movies and television projects, but none matched the incredible success of Mayberry. Then, in the 1980s, he found another unforgettable role. He became Ben Matlock, the clever defense attorney in the hit legal drama Matlock. Once again, audiences loved him. His calm personality, sharp thinking, and natural charm made him one of television's most recognizable stars. It proved that Andy Griffith wasn't just remembered for one role. He had the rare ability to connect with viewers across different generations. But behind the success, life continued to bring personal challenges. His first marriage ended after more than 2 decades together. Later, he married again, but that relationship also came to an end. Eventually, Andy found lasting happiness with Cindy Knight, whom he married in 1983. She remained by his side for the rest of his life. One of the hardest moments Andy ever faced came in 1996. His son, Sam Griffith, passed away after years of struggling with addiction. The loss deeply affected Andy. Friends said it was something he never completely recovered from. It was a heartbreaking reminder that even famous people experience pain that the public never fully sees. Despite everything happening in his personal life, Andy remained respected throughout Hollywood. He preferred a quiet lifestyle and rarely spoke about private family matters. Instead, He let his work speak for itself. Ron Howard has always been careful when talking about Andy Griffith. He never claimed Andy was perfect. Instead, he described him as someone with great talent, strong values about his work, and very human flaws. Ron once said Andy had flaws a mile long. It wasn't meant as criticism. It was simply an honest reminder that people can be both inspiring and imperfect at the same time. That honesty has made Ron Howard's memories even more meaningful. He didn't try to create a perfect image. He shared the real person he knew, a gifted actor, a demanding, leader generous manner, and a man who, like everyone else, struggled with challenges behind closed doors. Perhaps that's what makes Andy Griffith's story so powerful. The man who created one of television's kindest worlds was still trying to navigate the difficulties of his own life, and maybe that's exactly why Mayberry felt so genuine. It wasn't created by someone who lived a perfect life. It was created by someone who understood how much people long for kindness, hope, and a place where everything eventually turns out okay. Andy Griffith passed away on July 3, 2012, at the age of 86. News of his death quickly spread across America. Fans, actors, and longtime friends remembered him not only as a television star, but as someone who had helped shape American entertainment. For many people, it felt like saying goodbye to an old friend. Ron Howard was among those who paid tribute. By then, Ron had become one of Hollywood's most successful directors, winning Academy Awards and directing blockbuster films. Yet despite all his success, he never forgot the man who helped shape his early career. After Andy's passing, Ron shared a heartfelt message. He wrote that he would always be grateful for the years they spent together and described Andy as a wonderful television father. It was a simple message, but it carried deep meaning. Over the years, Ron has spoken about Andy with honesty. He never pretended Andy was perfect. He admitted that Andy had personal flaws and difficult moments. At the same time, he never forgot Andy's kindness, creativity, and dedication to his work. Those memories remain stronger than anything else. Looking back today, it's clear that Andy Griffith left behind much more than television shows. He left behind lessons. He showed that success comes from hard work. He believed every scene should feel real. He respected his audience and refused to create stories that felt fake or forced. Those values influenced Ron Howard throughout his own career. Many actors who worked with Ron have praised him for creating calm, respectful film sets where everyone feels welcome. It's no surprise that many people believe those leadership qualities began during his childhood on The Andy Griffith Show. Even decades after the series ended, Mayberry continues to attract new fans. The show is still watched around the world. Parents introduce it to their children. Grandparents remember watching it with their own families. Its message of kindness, patience, and community still feels meaningful today. Perhaps that's Andy Griffith's greatest achievement. He created stories that never seemed to grow old. The town of Mayberry may have been fictional, but the emotions it created were real, and maybe that's why people continue to return to it year after year. Ron Howard's memories remind us of an important truth. A person doesn't have to be perfect to leave behind something beautiful. Andy Griffith had strengths, he had weaknesses, he had personal struggles, but he also gave millions of people a place they could escape to, a place filled with hope, friendship, and simple human kindness. That legacy continues today. And as long as people keep watching The Andy Griffith Show, the spirit of Mayberry will never truly disappear. Even today, many people still wonder why The Andy Griffith Show continues to connect with audiences after so many decades. The answer? In just nostalgia. It's the feeling the show creates. In a world that often feels busy and stressful, Mayberry reminds people of a slower, kinder way of living. It reminds us that respect matters, that neighbors should help each other, that problems don't always need anger to be solved. Andy Griffith understood those ideas better than most storytellers. Whether he was acting in front of the camera or helping shape scenes behind it, He wanted every episode to feel honest. That dedication made the show timeless. Ron Howard has carried those same values throughout his own career. As a director, he became known for treating actors with respect and encouraging teamwork. Many people who have worked with him say he creates a positive atmosphere where everyone feels comfortable sharing ideas. It's a style of leadership that can be traced back to his childhood years working beside Andy Griffith. Of course, Andy's life was never as simple as the world he created on television. Like everyone, he made mistakes. He experienced success, disappointment, happiness, and heartbreak. His story reminds us that the people we admire are still human. What matters most is the impact they leave behind. And Andy Griffith's impact is impossible to ignore. His television shows continue to entertain new generations. His performances still make people smile. His stories still remind us that kindness never goes out of style. Ron Howard has never tried to erase Andy's flaws. Instead, he has chosen to remember the complete person, someone who worked incredibly hard, someone who expected excellence. Someone who inspired countless people, even while facing his own personal struggles. Perhaps that's the greatest lesson of all. You don't have to live a perfect life to make a lasting difference. Sometimes the people who give the world the most hope are the very ones who have faced the greatest challenges themselves. Andy Griffith gave millions of viewers a place where compassion, friendship, and understanding always mattered, and because of that, his legacy continues to live on. As long as people continue to discover Mayberry, Andy Griffith's message of kindness and decency will never be forgotten. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your favorite Andy Griffith memory in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.